Welcome back. Now, government has submitted a new trade offer to the U.S. in a bid to relax the 30% trade tariff on the country's exports to the region. A concession has been made on poultry imports while pork restrictions remain. The Association of Meat Importers and Exporters, in the meantime, has welcomed the government's broader trade strategy to help buffer the industry during the heightened tariff climate. The association's CEO, Imameleng Mothebe, joins us with more detail. Imameleng, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. And let's start there with what you've made of the latest trade deal, particularly when it comes to issues around the meat industry. I just highlighted there that concessions have been made for the poultry industry. However, pork also under the spotlight. While SA is open to U.S. pork imports, there are concerns around, a disease that affects pigs in the States.
Yes, good afternoon, and thanks for having us. We do welcome the latest development. U.S. is an important trading partner to South Africa and to the meat sector. Most of our engagements with the U.S. in the meat sector is mainly on imports and not necessarily on exports. Yes. Our meat exports to the U.S. are not that significant. That's why, in essence, we're talking about the concessions that needed to be made in order to provide space for other products within the broader basket. For us, the poultry trade tariff quota has been in place since 2016 under the AGOA. But for now, I think the issues were centering around what sometimes maybe countries may perceive as non-tariff barriers by South Africa, but in essence, it had to do with diseases management. The many states in the U.S. in the last few years have been battling the avian influenza outbreaks, and without regionalization, you find that the whole country gets closed. That's why we are advocating that for trade to move forward, because diseases are a reality in most trading partners. We need to move swiftly into regionalization so that we can guarantee our export status in countries that matter and that give us the high value priorities that as a country we deserve. So the arrangements with the US, it's basically the only new thing is about the regionalization program. But as well to ensure that there's a system in place to make sure there's efficiency in terms of when there's a disease outbreak, the system will also pick that up quickly, and the South African authorities can verify whatever they need to verify, and then close and or open swiftly in that regard, because currently what happens is we're still more on a manual kind of system where those processes take long to happen. And some countries may view that as non-tariff barriers.
Yes. So is it safe to then say, with the concerns around disease management, that those imports, right, the poultry imports from the U.S. don't pose a risk to our local market, just considering how the bird flu is also just spread?
There are protocols and processes to be followed. That is why from country to country, there will be specific arrangements that manage all that process in terms of how do you deal with certain situations, how do you monitor, how do you provide the information such that the receiving country is also comfortable in terms of the kind of information they report to ensure that the state is safe in terms of any potential diseases filtering into the market. So this is, from what we understand, on a pilot basis where South Africa then is looking to roll that out. Countries. The only concern we have at this point, whilst we welcome in that, is in the context of where we are economically and the developments around our trading partners. All our trading partners around the world that had arrangements with the US will obviously be looking elsewhere in terms of where they can send their product. And we're also looking to elsewhere can we send our products in the various product baskets that we offer as a country. We're looking forward to improving our market access for beef and for lamb. That's a growing sector for us. And we need similar kind of arrangements in terms of making sure that we have a regionalization program that will ensure our long-term presence in the markets that we have opened. It doesn't help to open a market and then we're not in control of disease management in the country, and therefore the same market closes and we are not able to benefit from it. So for us, the risk is too high.
Yes.
We need to make sure that we move swiftly to that. That is where industry is saying to government, we welcome the development, we welcome the direction in terms of export-led growth, and we believe that we have a role to play and the support that we can give to government in relation to the networks that we have, because we trade regularly with these countries. We have the local networks. We know, understand the dynamics around that, and we believe there's a role that we can play in ensuring that when we're looking into new markets and swift trade between the existing markets, then we can play a significant role there.
And on market diversification, looking at opportunities in other markets, is this a simple task for the industry? I mean, I think of some of the other industries that have said that it's not as simple to just, look for other markets and put or export products into those markets. What does that look like, and what markets are you looking at accessing?
Market access is not a simple, straightforward thing. It takes a while. It takes actually years for markets to open. So if we're looking into new markets, we need to have a plan now that we know might give us results in the next 3 to 5 years. Whilst we are in that mode, we need to be safeguarding the markets that we have currently. That is where we need to have systems in place that ensure that we can protect our presence in those markets, and we have the right systems and we have the right capacity within the department to deal with that, because meat exports is basically in the hands of the Department of Agriculture in terms of the technical support that is required.
And just on that, on government's systems, what have you made of, government's responses to diseases within the meat industry? We can look at how SA responded to the bird flu outbreak that was in Brazil, where we had a ban and then we lifted the ban, and some sort of regionalization kind of process was also used within that sector in particular. We can even look on the export side in terms of how we're handling our beef exports when it comes to foot and mouth disease.
Yes, we're making an effort around that, but I think we need agility, we need a clear plan, and we need to make sure that that plan is implemented. There's a lot of discussions ongoing within the industry, but as you know, in trade, one day lost can be detrimental to business. So businesses are beginning to panic, especially around the issues of vaccination and the agility on the government side to come to a proper conclusion around how we move forward, what assistance is in place, the timeframes around that. Because you can imagine if you're running a large feedlot and you're not sure whether you're vaccinating or you're not vaccinating, or you're able to vaccinate the whole lot in terms of your cattle. Those uncertainties bring a lot of risks to the business, where some businesses may end up folding if we're not agile around the decisions that need to be made.
And what's your sense around the engagements with government? Is government listening to the industry players?
It is listening, but I think what is important is the decisions and implementation processes. We need to move fast. It's no use talking for weeks and months, and you are not able to be seeing the effectiveness on the ground, because what is important is the effectiveness on the ground, and therefore the ability of South Africa to continue trading.
All right, let's leave it there, Imameleng. Thanks so much for your time and just sharing your insights with us this afternoon. Now, that was CEO of the Association of Meat Importers and Exporters, Imameleng Mothebe.